at 5.
It was your first date together. You thought it went okay. You were charming and interested and you insisted on paying half. Sure, there was an awkward, nervous fumble at the door at the end of the night, but he didn't seem too disappointed when he sped away, and then he never called.
It's not uncommon, but our first guest today may be able to help. Katia Loisel-Furey is an expert on flirting, dating, body language and relationships, and she's researched the dating patterns and experiences of 1,500 singles around the world, and she joins us now to share the results. Good morning,
Hello.
Katia.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I like this because this is a substantial study.
It is, it is. I guess, the reason we did the study was every time you turn on the TV or open a magazine, you get different advice. Some books tell you play hard to get, some say no, you've got to make eye contact, some say you've got to pay your share, others say no, the man should pay. What do women look for? Is it the size of your wallet that counts, or is it, your personality? So we just wanted to get to the truth of the matter, because dating is nerve-wracking as it is without actually knowing what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
So finally we have the answers, and it's really surprising. It's probably not what people think.
Do women worry about this far more than men, do you think?
Women obsess about dating and flirting, am I right? Let's face it, we like to talk, we like to get on the phone. Yeah, we like to get on the phone, we like to chat to our girlfriends. We go out on a date, then we call every single girlfriend and have the same conversation 20 times,
Yeah. Oh my God, what happened?
What happened? What did he wear? What did he sound like? What was the tone of his voice?
Yeah.
Text message. Now, was there a comma?
They just don't talk about it.
They talk about other things.
And that's why they're oblivious to it,
You were saying that the results of the study were surprising.
They were surprising.
What surprised you most?
The big thing that surprised me was that, probably will surprise most women, is that 51% of men actually don't want to pay for your date. And of the men that do, 57, yes, and 57% of the ones who are happy to pay would like the woman to at least offer, whereas 75% of women want the man to pay, or at least offer.
Well, they're not connecting there, are they?
Yeah, well, not at all. Also, 83% of men are happy for the women to make the first move, but 43% of women still want the man to make the first move. So there's this really big gap between men and women's expectations. Yes. So is it any wonder that we're, completely dateless and single?
Do you think the problem here is that people are thinking too much about it? And that's getting in the way of just kind of going, oh, I quite like the look of her, I'll go over there, and vice versa.
Or if he doesn't call back, you go, well, maybe he's just not that into me.
Well, exactly. The reality is, when we asked guys, and 100% of the guys that we asked said if they actually liked a girl, they'd make time to call. So if he doesn't call, he's not interested. If he's got enough time to go to the toilet or watch the footy with his mates or grab a beer, he has time to call. And that's the same with girls. Don't cluster call, don't stalk people and, message to the mobile, message to the home phone, 100 text messages saying, what about me? Because it just puts people off.
If he's not calling the next day, if she's not calling the next day, it's over.
All right, well, speaking of calling the next day.
Yes.
Do you call the next day?
Yes.
Do you call the day after?
Of course you do. No,
did you call Karina the next day?
Of course I did.
Yeah. The thing is not to call straight after the date and say, oh my God, I had such a fantastic time, what are we doing tonight, because then you'll come across as a stalker. But 96% of women said that a guy shouldn't wait more than a couple of days to call. And nearly 40% of those women said he should call the next day. So as long as you're cash about it, a little text message after the date to say, you know what, I had a fantastic time, it was so nice to meet you, you looked great. See you soon. Then they'll be thinking, girls in particular, she'll be calling all her friends and she'll be saying, oh my God, he wants to talk to me.
What, so you're saying that a text message is acceptable?
Don't ask.
Why wouldn't you just call?
Well, straight after a date, as you're going home, you're not going to call.
Straight after the date.
Yeah. A little flirty text. We don't want to ask people out by text message.
What's a flirty text?
A flirty text, hi, how you going? I had a great time.
I liked the way you wore that suit.
Absolutely. The reality is, after a date, most people go home and they think, oh my God, they were beautiful, they were gorgeous, he was hot, she was hot, but do they like me? And so we start worrying, we start obsessing, girls in particular, we start pulling the date apart. A little nice cute text message to say I had a great time tells them that I feel the same way. And then that, leads the way for some seriously hot flirting and some really great days.
But, Katia, and this is the thing that really worries me, if you're a shy person, that's going to be all the more difficult, isn't it? So how does a shy person kind of, put the best on display, so to speak?
Isn't a text a good way for a shy person?
Absolutely. 74% of women don't want to be asked out by text. So even if you're shy, pick up the phone the old-fashioned way. Don't do it. It's much easier. Yeah, you can come across, you can take half an hour to compose a message, but it's also much easier for them to say no. And if you can't be bothered at the beginning of the relationship, what are you going to be like 2 months down the track, you know? But, yeah, a little flirty text to say had a great time.
Flirty text. Listen, surely, look, if you're desperate for a date and you haven't had a date for a year or two like that, realistically, there's something wrong. You're not going to get a date, are you?
Of course you are. What do you mean?
Well, how do those...
to look at perhaps you've got some issues that you haven't
Yeah.
got, like body odour or something.
That's right. Or you're a psycho. So let's talk about those people that are psychos. What do they do about it? Where do they go? Do they go to the psycho bar?
You know what? I honestly don't think that people are psychos. The reason you
Oh, yes, they are.
Okay, there might be a
I
few.
met them.
Okay, there might be a few psychos, but the reality is, when you put heaps of pressure on yourself, when you consistently tell yourself, I'm not good looking enough, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I've got no hair, I've got bad breath, whatever it is, then you send out all this non-verbal leakage. Unfortunately, what you think comes out...
Non-verbal leakage.
Non-verbal leakage. Your body shoots out 10,000 stimuli
We'll be
per
cooking
second.
next, ladies and gentlemen.
10,000 stimuli per second. So the reality is what you think comes out. So if you're thinking, oh my God, are they going to like me? Oh, I can't, I really need a date, I need whatever.
You're oozing negativity.
You're oozing negativity. You're basically sending out a barrage of signals that say stay away. Whereas,
No, go.
yeah, whereas if you're thinking, the way to get rid of that, this is the way, you know, so if that's your problem, this is what you do. You see someone you like, you know that you're going to come across as desperate. The only way to get rid of a negative thought is to replace it with another thought. So you make eye contact. Up to 4 seconds, not more, otherwise you're staring.
Are you flirting with me?
I am flirting with you. Up to 4 seconds sends a subconscious signal to their brain that you're interested. Or when you're maintaining conversation, up to 60% of the time. More than that is staring, so you've got to look away.
Right.
It also sends a hormone
That was 5
called...
seconds.
It also sends a hormone for gorgeous. And so now you don't have to worry about what you're saying, you know, you're sending out the positive signals.
So that even works for the person with no hair and halitosis?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Especially from the other side of the bar in the dark.
Definitely.
Can we talk about how technology, there's online dating, and I was intrigued to read that you suggest that people should change, if they're online dating, they should change their profile often.
Should they?
According to what I read.
Well, you want to keep it fresh.
You need to, yeah, absolutely. You need to keep it fresh, but the most important thing is you need to be honest. You know, you need to be honest about who you are. There's no point putting up a profile of yourself when you were, you know, a gym junkie, or when you know, looked beautiful when you were 15 or 20. You know, so
Or you look like a rabid dog.
absolutely.
I'll put it to you, and after the break...